Have you ever looked at someone well into their 80s or 90s and wondered, how do they still have so much energy? How do they seem so sharp, so alive? Maybe it's a neighbor who still walks their dog every morning, or an old friend who's always the life of the party. You might even ask yourself, will I be like that in 10, 20 years? Aging is something we all face. But the truth is, how we age isn't just about luck or genetics. It often comes down to the small things we do every single day, the habits we build, the choices we make, and the mindset we carry. The good news? It's never too late to start. In fact, many people who live well into their 90s with good health and a sharp mind didn't make drastic changes. They just stuck with a few simple, consistent habits. Today, I want to talk with you about 5 of those powerful daily habits. They're not complicated. They don't require a gym membership or a strict diet. These are things you can start doing right now, in your home, in your routine, in your own time. And while they may seem simple, they can add years to your life. And more importantly, add life to your years. Let's start with something that might surprise you. It's not exercise or a pill or some expensive supplement. It's your morning mindset. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thought that crosses your mind? For many people over 70, it's something like, ugh, everything hurts, or I'm too tired, or even, what's the point today? That mindset, whether we realize it or not, sets the tone for the rest of the day. But people who age well, those vibrant, energetic 90-year-olds we admire, often have a completely different approach. They start the day with intention. Before getting out of bed, they take a moment to feel grateful, to think of 1 or 2 things they're thankful for. Maybe it's a warm bed. Maybe it's a grandchild's laugh. Maybe it's the fact that they woke up at all. This habit of beginning the day with gratitude and purpose doesn't just lift your mood. It lowers stress, improves heart health, and actually helps regulate your immune system. Scientists have proven this. And the best part? It costs nothing, takes less than a minute, and can change the entire direction of your day. So the first habit is this: start each day with purpose. Before your feet touch the ground, take a breath and tell yourself one reason today matters. Say it out loud if you can. Something like, today I'm going to take care of myself. Or, today I'll call someone I love. That little spark of intention, it builds momentum. It reminds your brain and your body that you are still here, still living, and that your time matters. Now let's talk about the second habit, something many people overlook until it's too late: hydration. I know, it doesn't sound exciting. But staying properly hydrated is one of the easiest and most powerful ways to feel younger, more energized, and even think more clearly. Here's the thing, as we age, our body's natural thirst signal becomes weaker. That means you might not feel thirsty even when you're dehydrated. And mild dehydration, even just a little, can cause fatigue, headaches, confusion, constipation, and even falls. Yes, falls. Because when your body lacks water, your balance and focus suffer, and that puts you at risk. People who live long, healthy lives don't wait until they're thirsty. They make hydration a routine. 1 glass of water when they wake up, another before lunch, 1 mid-afternoon, another before bed. Some even keep a glass or bottle within arm's reach all day, as a visual reminder. You don't need to drink gallons. Just aim for 6 to 8 small glasses throughout the day, and more if it's hot or you've been active. And no, coffee and tea don't count, especially not the sugary ones. In fact, too much caffeine or sugar actually dehydrates you. If plain water feels boring, try adding a slice of lemon, cucumber, or even a few mint leaves. Just avoid the sugary vitamin drinks or sports beverages. Those often do more harm than good. Think of water like oil for a car. Without it, the engine starts to struggle. But give it what it needs, and everything runs smoother. Your joints, your digestion, your mind, your energy. It's that simple. Now that we've covered mindset and hydration, let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you moved, not just a walk to the fridge or the mailbox, but really moved your body in a way that got your blood flowing? Here's the truth. Habit number 3 is movement, but I don't want you to think of it as exercise. That word alone can feel intimidating, like it means going to the gym or lifting heavy weights. But the people who age the best, the ones still dancing at weddings or planting tomatoes in their garden at 85, they don't think of movement as a chore. They think of it as life. They stretch. They take walks. They reach, bend, lift light things, do gentle squats by holding the kitchen counter. They move in ways that feel natural, sustainable, and, believe it or not, joyful. And the science backs this up. Even just 20-30 minutes of light movement a day can improve bone health, heart function, digestion, and sleep. It also boosts mood and memory, especially when combined with fresh air or sunlight. And here's something even more powerful. Movement builds confidence. Every time you choose to move instead of sit, you remind yourself that you're still strong, still capable. You take ownership of your body instead of surrendering it to age. Don't worry if it's been a while since you've done anything active. Start small, a slow walk around the house, march in place during a TV commercial, roll your shoulders, stretch your arms. The point isn't to push or strain, it's to show up for your body a little more each day. And soon, what once felt like effort will start to feel like freedom. Now that we've talked about how you start your day, how you nourish your body with water, and how you keep moving with purpose, there's something else just as important, but often overlooked. It's not physical, it's not mental, it's something that feeds your soul. Because as we get older, it's not just about keeping our bodies strong, it's about keeping our spirit alive. That brings us to the next habit, and I'd argue it's one of the most powerful, meaningful connection. Now, I'm not talking about being surrounded by dozens of people all the time, or forcing yourself to be more social than you're comfortable with. I'm talking about real connection, moments of warmth, of shared laughter, of feeling seen and heard. People who live long and live well tend to have at least one or two strong connections in their lives. That could be a spouse, a neighbor, a sibling, a friend, or even someone you talk to on the phone once a week. So how can you turn this into a daily habit? It doesn't have to be complicated. Set a reminder to call a friend or loved one each morning, or leave your front door open while you sit on the porch. Sometimes just a wave or a smile to a passerby sparks a moment of joy. If you're more comfortable online, write a kind comment on someone's post, or join a group that shares your interests. It could be gardening, classic films, old school music, anything that gets you talking, sharing, laughing. And here's the key, don't wait for others to reach out first. Make the first move. The strongest elders I've met, the ones with the brightest spark in their eyes, don't sit around waiting for someone to knock on their door. They create connection, little by little, day by day. And in doing so, they stay young in the ways that matter most. Of course, staying connected to others is just one piece of the puzzle. There's another connection that's equally important, the one you have with yourself. And that brings us to the fifth habit, daily reflection. This might sound fancy, but it's really quite simple. It means taking a few minutes each day to check in with yourself, to ask, how am I feeling today? What went well? What didn't? What do I want more of tomorrow? This practice, done regularly, can actually keep your brain sharper, your mood more balanced, and your outlook more optimistic. People who live to 90 and beyond often talk about perspective. They've learned how to reflect on their lives without getting stuck in regret. They see challenges as lessons, not punishments. They look back on difficult days not with bitterness, but with resilience. And that wisdom doesn't come from age alone. It comes from reflection. You don't need a journal or any fancy method. Just take 5 minutes at the end of each day, maybe while sitting with a cup of tea or lying in bed, and quietly review your day. Think about what made you smile, what challenged you, what you're proud of, even what you'd like to change. Some people like to speak their thoughts out loud, others write them down. There's no wrong way to do it. The point is to stay aware, to stay curious, and to stay engaged with your own journey. And here's a little secret. This habit, more than almost anything else, helps you spot patterns. Maybe you'll notice that you always feel better after walking in the morning, or that certain foods drain your energy, or that you sleep better on the days you talk to a friend. These small realizations can lead to big changes over time, because when you understand yourself better, you take better care of yourself. So let's pause here for a moment. We've talked about how starting your day with purpose can energize your spirit, how drinking enough water can refresh your body, how daily movement keeps you strong and capable, how staying connected nourishes your heart, and how a few quiet moments of reflection can sharpen your mind and soothe your soul. All of these habits are small, simple, almost too simple, but don't let that fool you. Sometimes it's the smallest things, done every day, that create the biggest impact. Just like water slowly carves a canyon, these daily choices shape the quality of your life in ways you may not see at first, but you will feel. You might be thinking, it's too late for me to start now. Or, I've already developed bad habits. I can't undo decades. But here's what I want you to hear clearly. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. And that is powerful. Your body, your brain, your heart, they're still listening, still responding, still capable of growing and healing in ways that may surprise you. You just have to show up for yourself, one small habit at a time. And yes, some days will be harder than others. There will be mornings when you don't feel like stretching, when the phone feels too heavy to pick up, when your mind feels cloudy or your motivation low. That's okay. That's part of the journey. But those are the days when these habits matter most, because showing up when it's hard is what builds strength, real, lasting strength. And remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Pick one habit and start there. Add the others slowly. Let them grow with you. Let them support you. Let them remind you that every day you wake up is a chance, not just to live longer, but to live better. So take a deep breath. Feel your feet on the floor. Look around at this moment you're in. You're alive, you're capable, and your best days are not behind you. They're ahead of you. Let's keep going. There's still more to talk about. What matters most isn't the number of people you have in your life. It's the quality of those interactions. And those don't happen by accident. They're built through intention. Taking the time to check in with someone, writing a note, sharing a memory, asking a question, and really listening to the answer. These tiny acts of connection are like emotional vitamins. They strengthen your sense of belonging, reduce stress, and even protect your heart. In fact, studies show that loneliness is as dangerous to your health as smoking. Let that sink in. It literally increases the risk of heart disease, dementia, and early death. But just one meaningful interaction a day can flip the switch. Because now that we've explored these powerful daily habits, starting the day with intention, staying hydrated, moving your body, connecting with others, and reflecting inward, there's something even deeper that starts to unfold. And that's the way these small actions begin to transform how you feel about your life. You start to notice that you don't just exist, you participate. You don't just go through the motions, you engage. And one of the most beautiful things that happens when people over 70 start practicing these habits is a quiet kind of confidence, a sense of, yes, I still have purpose, I still have something to give, I'm still becoming. There's something I want you to reflect on right now. When you think of yourself at 90, what do you see? What do you want? Maybe it's being able to walk around your garden without assistance. Maybe it's reading books without brain fog. Maybe it's staying sharp enough to tell stories to your great-grandchildren. Whatever your vision is, I want you to hold on to it. Because it's not just a dream, it's a destination. And these habits are your road. And yes, there will be days when your body aches, or your energy dips, or your motivation fades. That's normal. The key is not to be perfect, it's to return. To keep returning to these small anchors that pull you back into life. A glass of water, a 10-minute walk, a phone call, a few words in a notebook, a moment of stillness in the morning. These are not just habits, they're lifelines. And here's another thing that happens when you start living this way. You start to inspire others. Whether you realize it or not, the people around you, your children, grandchildren, friends, neighbors, they notice. They see you choosing life. They see you staying curious, connected, grounded. You become a quiet role model simply by choosing to take care of yourself. That influence ripples out in ways you may never fully know. You're showing them that getting older doesn't have to mean fading away. It can mean deepening, growing, strengthening, becoming more of who you really are. And perhaps most importantly, these habits give you a sense of ownership, because so much of aging can feel like things are being taken away. Your strength, your independence, your roles, your routines. But when you choose to do these simple things daily, you're giving something back to yourself. You're saying, I still matter. I still deserve care. I still choose life. That's not small. That's everything. So as we bring this conversation to a close, I want to remind you of something essential. The goal is not to live forever. The goal is to live well, to have mornings you look forward to, days that feel meaningful, nights where you sleep with peace in your heart. And that's possible, more possible than many people think, even after 70, even after 80. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to begin with one habit, one decision, one act of care for yourself today, and then do it again tomorrow and the next day. That's how longevity is built, not in years, but in moments, one powerful moment at a time. So here's what I hope you take from all of this. Your time is not over. Your energy can return. Your days can be vibrant. Your mind can stay sharp. And your heart, your beautiful beating heart, still has so much to give and receive. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share a habit you're already doing or one you're ready to start in the comments below. Your story could be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This space is all about supporting you, inspiring you, and walking this journey together. One day, one step, one habit at a time. Thank you for spending your time here with me. Truly, you are not alone, you are not invisible, you are part of something greater, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. Here's to your health, your joy, your strength, and to living your best life at any age. Let's talk about that. Because aging often comes with the feeling that your best years are behind you, that you're winding down, that your time is less valuable, your opinions less important, your energy somehow less worthy of investing in. But that is simply not true. Some of the most joyful, inspiring, and impactful people I've ever met were in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s. And they didn't get there by accident. They got there by building lives filled with intention, care, and attention to the little things. Not grand plans, not perfect days, just small acts done daily with heart.